Hello YouTube, Mewtwo here with another package and pickups video, and one that I'm doing unusually really early in the morning, so early it's late. So coffee at the ready just in case, because it might be a long one too. And this is actually a trade that I did with a fellow YouTuber on here known as TootyUK, or Stuart, and he sent through two big packages. So no wonder he was saying, wow, postage. Seriously, because there must be about 2 kg of packaging. I slipped open the top. Gotta be careful not to let addresses out. And then it was greeted by a bunch more packaging. And a bunch more packaging. So I said, I'll just slip open the top and then I'll be able to do a fairly easy kind of live unboxing, as it were. But then when I seen this, I was like, oh nuts. And when I say this, I mean, it's always great to get really well packaged stuff. And I watched Stuart's video through, and I was looking, going, oh crap, I forgot to put in half the packaging. I'm going to blame the run up to Christmas, because I think I sent mine out like the 23rd or the 22nd. And of course that week was just manic in general, so trying to get a package, put together and sent out, not the best of times, but it got there. Actually got there surprisingly fast, especially when you take all the bank holidays into consideration. Like, the post has pretty much been off till the 3rd or something. And no, I'm not just kind of continue talking while I open, fill up time. And believe it or not, out of all two packages full of stuff, not a single Master System. Dum dum dum. So yeah, I sent over Stuart some Master System stuff. And typically, as always seems to be the case, if I send something over as a greasy bonus, in the interim that person picks it up. But you can always use them for trade. That's what I always say. So finally got one out, but I just realised these seem to be even more packaging inside the packaging. I think there might be some games in here too. No, it's funny how the difference you get in packaging. Yeah, there's packaging within inside the packaging in the envelope. But that highlights the difference between a person who's into collecting, or a person who's kind of doing it as part of a community thing, versus when you deal in eBay. And not all experiences on eBay are bad. I think the majority, for me at least, are good. But I do notice that there can be a certain skimping on packaging, especially when you're paying a fair bit for postage. I typically, now, to send one Master System game from the UK to Ireland can cost £4 sterling, and I know there was a postage increase, and fair enough, if that's what it is, that's what it is. I'm not entirely familiar with the rates, but what really drives me mad then is when they send them in a standard envelope. No bubble wrap, not a bubble mailer, nothing like that. And it's like, man, I paid the extra 20p to put it in a proper bag to give it some protection. And I'm sure these people are thinking, oh, it's got a hard case, it's fine, whatever. But no, it's not fine. Seriously, even just give the person the option. Say to them, like, I got different postage rates. That's two of them out. Third one. I must try not to spend the whole video looking down here as well. Okay, so first few bits up are going to be PS1 games, and I was going to say, you might be thinking, wow, Sony stuff, but I suppose I've done like a PS3 collection and did some PSP bits as well, so it's probably not surprising now. And the first one up is Die Hard Trilogy Platinum. Now for me, it doesn't, Platinum, Black Label, doesn't really bother at all. And holy hell, that's a really thick manual. But yeah, both manual and disc and whatnot in great condition. I've heard about this game before, and it's meant to be very good. And if I recall, I think one of the games in it might require a light gun. Well, it says it's mouse compatible, so I'm not too sure. But it probably all plays with the analog stick anyway. But I actually heard more about the Saturn version, believe it or not. But I think they're pretty much the same thing. It's like a trilogy of games, hence the trilogy, based on the movies, hence the trilogy. So I'm actually quite interested to try this out. The movies are grand as well. I mean, they're the typical, they're the typical movie that you think, surely that's going to, I should have held it up, surely that's going to translate into a really good game. And I believe it does. Next up, then we have a Tomb Raider game, Tomb Raider Chronicles. And this one is analog stick compatible. Because I always lose count to the number of boxes, a little broken at the bottom, but it's okay. I always find that PlayStation games, manual and disc, in good condition actually. The boxes, oh man, these CD based games in their boxes is just a nightmare. I don't think this is as bad as what I hear people say about the Dreamcast, but I don't know. I mean, they're plastic boxes. You do get collapsing and some breakages on Master System and Mega Drive boxes, but nothing as bad as CD ones, I find. So, as I said, I always forget the order of these games, and that ties into the next pickup as well, if I can get it, because it's sealed up again. I think the box was might have been a bit dodgy in one of these. Could have been that, I'm not too sure. This is another Tomb Raider game, Tomb Raider The Last Revelation. This one's black label, but just a disc this time. The box is in okay condition actually, not bad. Bit of a crack, but still together, so it's fine. Like, as I said, I'm not as picky on my PlayStation stuff, but that's two Tomb Raider games. I do have one myself. Actually, I thought it was Chronicles, thinking about it. I always get confused. What are the order of these games? What way are you meant to play them? I know like Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3, but then there's like these other ones. And some of them are prequels or something. And I can't remember did Stuart send over Tomb Raider Chronicles actually as a Brucey bonus or not now. I think he might have done. In which case, thank you very much. Because that's very unexpected. I totally didn't expect that, unless I asked for it, in which case, thanks for sending it. But thanks very much for all three anyway so far. And that's just getting started. Because now I gotta talk again while I unwrap more. But anyway, on the Tomb Raider things, I've always wanted to kind of get into Tomb Raider series, because certainly back in the day, it was kind of one of the Sony kind of go-to franchises. But I was more into Nintendo, so I never played it that much. And the first time I got the Tomb Raider, I think on the PC, but I never really enjoyed playing so much in the PC, and I don't even think I had a controller. And whatever about mouse keyboard games being designed to use a PC setup, or say something like Minecraft or The Sims, Tomb Raider is not set up for those controls. It's certainly meant to be played with an analog stick. I don't know how they did the first one without it. So it wasn't until I got the Wii version, they did the anniversary, and they brought that over to the Wii with new added Wii features, and that was a pretty good game. And I started to get into it. I could kind of see the whole, exploring the environments and kind of learning how to traverse the environments seemed to be a big part of it. But what happened was I got stuck a few times, and I had to look it up online, which I'm not keen when you kind of keep hitting roadblocks like that in games that you can't naturally figure out yourself. Maybe I was just being stupid, I don't know. Or maybe I was just being impatient. The older you get more impatient. And it was literally a case that I said, okay, if I see the guide, I'll pick it up. So after a while I actually did find a guide for the Wii and bought it and everything and said, right, so I must get into this. But by that stage there had been, kind of a while since I played it. And even though I had the guide, it was a case of I couldn't really pick up where I left off. And then ended up just going, oh, I'd have to start again. And just whatever about modern gaming, this whole, I'd have to start again a few hours into a game, you're like, I can't be doing that. And while on the Tomb Raider team, it's Tomb Raider 2. Now, from what I hear, this is actually the pinnacle of the series. And again, for some reason, I was thinking of Saturn with this game. But this definitely, I think, came out on the PlayStation first. And if anything, I think it was more of a, it wasn't expected to come out on Saturn. Or I certainly remember reading about it in Sega Saturn magazine. And again, nice condition. So that's most of the Tomb Raider series, I think, now. As I said, I lose count of all the different games. And my god, this is so well packaged. Like, literally every single one is within a massive amount of bubble wrap and then individually wrapped itself. So holy hell. Do you know what? I nearly should keep the packaging and like weigh it and just see how much packaging there was. Not quite as sexy as Lara Croft, but got all the right moves too. It's another kind of platformy game, Croc. And this was, I suppose, one of those Sony's answer to Mario 64. My cousins actually had this on the PlayStation 1 at the time, and this fell out. Still fine condition though. But I played a little. Manual and disc in good condition. It's a platinum release, but as I said, doesn't bother me with the Sony stuff. I think, that different types of collectors find different, things, and I often hear people say that this the platinum stuff, big no-no, big no-no. But for me, the Sony stuff is more like, I might pop it in and have a play. I've got quite a few platinum games and it doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, this was obviously Sony trying to do a Mario 64 style game. The same with Spyro and whatnot. And some of these games are good. Quite enjoyable. But every time I played them, I couldn't help but feel it's not Mario 64. And then back to Lara with Tomb Raider 3. And what always crops to mind when I think of this game is how Games Master magazine described it. Something they called this glitch like a bitch, which I thought was very crude for a mainstream publication, especially one that was affiliated with, or had been affiliated with, before the Watershed show. And apparently, the game was great, but there was a lot of glitches to be found. So anyone who's used to modern games should be well used to that. And there's a couple of booklets in this, so. Well, we got the disc, Lara jumping forward shooting, and we got two booklets, the manual, which is all in colour, which is always nice, and there's this Lara Croft merchandising book. Holy hell, the brand must have been big by then. If, like me, you're passionate, and by me I'm not talking about me, about your independence, you require high performance equipment that will impress. Whether you're looking for adventure or just want to relax, my latest collection of exclusive Lara clothing will ensure you keep cool. All my official merchandise is fully guaranteed and has been made using only the finest quality materials to ensure total style and long-lasting wearability. For further information on my merchandise or news of my ventures and fan club, please check out my website, laracroft.co.uk. And for whatever reason, then they got some dude on a bike. There's a men's bathrobe. These pictures are awful. They're not exactly selling the products. Then they have a polo shirt, baseball cap, a lady's watch and whatnot. Again, so hard to tell what is the merchandising in indie shops. Well, they got a knitted beanie. They got a horse Lara Croft horse, maybe. Oh wait, no, it's the men's watch and the polo shirt. Pullover fleece. Man, I wonder who was in charge of doing this photo shoot and whatnot. It is corny as hell. Although to be fair, they got some proper shots of the merchandise now. I wonder how much of this they sold. Yeah, there's a fair whack of it. If you were collecting Lara Croft memorabilia, I'd imagine you would have quite the job on your hands. And they have a price list too. Wow, something I could have sworn I thought I seen the price of. Yes, 71. Yeah, the watches are £71 sterling. It seems quite expensive. Oh wait, no, sorry. The price in the UK is £65 sterling, but the price in Ireland is 71. And apparently the Lara figure, they actually have two figures. They have a life-size Lara, which is that one there, and a kind of statue figure thing. They are for the UK only, and they're £25 sterling and £35 sterling. There you go. I think I have another one of those merchandising manuals, but it's different. I think it came with, I think it might be Chronicles. I'm not too sure, because as I said, I think I have a Lara Croft game, but I'm not too sure what one it is. That's certainly most of the series now complete, and that's halfway through the packaging. So that definitely beefs out my PS1 collection, because I don't have a lot of PS1 games. It's one of those systems that I kind of try and dip into every once in a while. But anyway, I think this one might be a little easier to break into. So let me see. It's in groups of 3, I think. Here, I'll do it as 3 groups, because of course there's more nice packaging. And in another bit of a change, oh, I think this was a Brucey bonus too, actually. There's some Commodore games. I don't actually have an Amiga, but it is one of those systems. I don't really have any of the home computer formats at all. I've always been more of a console guy, but there are kind of things that I plan to perhaps get into at some point down the line, and the first kind of computer systems, or family of systems, would be the kind of Commodore range, the Commodore 64 and Commodore Amiga. So I've seen these games and I love the box art of this actually. It reminds me so much of Jason the Argonauts. I have no idea what the game's about. Even looking at this screenshots, it says it's a stunningly original quiz for 1 to 4 players, which when you look at that, I do not think that's a quiz game. Oh, it's obviously like, you know, Trivial Pursuit or something. But there we have the back of the box. And they certainly like to put these things, like, you have like the disc, but on the size of the box, like, massive. And this was like same with the big box PC games back in the day. I don't know whether to make it seem like there was more to it. So there's the manual as well. Sorry, I was flicking through that. Not very good camera presence there to just start reading through the manual without saying a word. Well, I did say that there was no Master System stuff in this, but that doesn't mean it wasn't some Sega goodness. In a way. As we have Galaxy Force on the Amiga, and of course this is a Sega game, hence we have, where is it? Sega, published by Activision, and this was published by Activision on the Master System as well. It was one of those third-party releases in America. There was basically only 2 third-party publishers, Parker Brothers, which I mentioned in a previous video, and Activision. And Activision did theirs in coloured boxes. So they had black boxes, red boxes for Rampage, and this one I think kind of came in a silvery grey box. Not too sure. But I always like to look at those boxes. They certainly stand out like a mile in the Master System library. But any game that, you know, like Mortal Kombat does that too. You have this kind of sea of white and then like black. Some people hate it because, of course, then it totally stands out. We have the inserts, which is the disc. Good old floppies. These are actually in really good condition, actually. Floppies always worry me though, because due to the format of their storage, them and tape games are going to be earlier games to be destroyed or unworkable. Which may be another reason that I'm not as keen on the home computers. Cartridges are much more durable in format. Oh, there's a few leaflets in this too. It looks like a nice little poster. Actually, this looks really cool. Yep, we have this little advertisement poster, and it is for Power Drift. This seems to be basically Sega games published by Activision. And then on the back, we have what I think is even cooler. We have this little, basically these all remind me of Master System games. I had to get it in there somewhere. We have Super Wonder Boy in Monsterland. Now, I've never played, these are, I assume, all Amiga games. But I know them either from the Mega Drive or the Master System. But there's this, the first game in Japan was known as Super Wonder Boy. And then there was a misprint for Wonder Boy and Monsterland, where it was, some of them had like Super Wonder Boy, Super Monsterland on the label or something like that. It's the same game, it's just a misprint. So this kind of feels like some sort of merger between like Super Wonder Boy in Monsterland. I've never played the Amiga version, but that's, I was gonna say it's one I'd be interested in trying, but Jesus, look at what they've done to Wonder Boy. One tooth yokel. My God. I'm going to save Monsterland. And we got Dynamite Ducks and Welcome to Your Doom. It's Altered Beast. So it has a cool little bonus actually. And we have Who You Gonna Call? Apparently Activision. That wouldn't have been as catchy if that was what they used in the movie. And see the film at the cinema, Ghostbusters 2. So I guess this was for sequel. I know Activision obviously did the first one. And we have the Tiny Player's Guide. Again, like I mean, there was no insert box, so Stuart wrapped it around and put to keep them together, which is really nice. But you do have to, again, like, look, that's the size of the contents, but the box is that big. And geesh, man, the shop owner must have hated that. So much packaging for so little content. And I mean, it is always nice to get something sizable. It kind of adds a degree of tangibility to your purchase. But there's kind of that trade-off between getting a nice box full of contents. Say like you get an RPG and you got maps or the interactive games, not interactive, Infocom games with their feelies. And this isn't even, they're not even the same size. It's not like it was even uniform. Oh, that would have bugged the hell out of me back in the day if I had like a load of higgledy-piggledy games trying to store them up so that they all lined up. That's a good cup of coffee, because as I said, it's early. Early equals tired. Ooh, packaging everywhere. So next up is some more computer stuff. Now, these are considered classics, or this one is considered a classic anyway in the UK circles. It is the Treasure Island Dizzy. Now this entire series of games are considered classics over here. This is got the Codemaster Seal of Quality. So this contains, like, I think this is considered one of Dizzy's best adventures. We don't even know how to open this. There we go. Do you know the way the box is like that? I actually thought this was a cassette game. I thought this was like double cassette or something like that. Because you know, as I said, I know a lot of games came stuff, but now that I think of it, it's an Amiga game. Of course, it was going to be floppy. So there we have the disc and the Codemaster strange insert fold out thing. I assume that it didn't come in a manual in general because it has like loading instructions and whatnot on the inserts. Codemaster starting an early trend. On the back they have also available Pro Powerboat Simulator. Ooh, and this is an awkward box actually. There we go. That would probably be the first one I'd fire up on an Amiga. I actually have Dizzy on the Master System. It's the Codemaster games are tricky enough to get. They're not that uncommon, especially in the UK. But they seem to kind of command a bit of attention and auctions. I was lucky enough to get my copy for 99p, and it comes complete with its poster. And then on the Dizzy team we have Fantasy World Dizzy, and again I think this was another one of the kind of better Dizzy titles. Although I don't think there's really bad Dizzy games. Maybe unless you're an American. We have the disc again, and Codemaster. They do have a manual this time, but it's one of those fold out. But I always kind of got the impression that the computer releases in general had less kind of uniformity, and you could just basically. Oh, I thought that was upside down. There's the back of the box. I do like the back actually. They have a lot of screenshots, and it does highlight, you know, the different characters, and it looks quite appealing. But as I said, there's less uniformity in the releases, and you could do a cheaper production because essentially you could have a guy in a bedroom just, you know, printing out one sheet and burning off either a floppy or a tape and selling it. And this was a crash smash. What was the other one? Oh, it was an 87% crash, so presumably Fantasy World is the better game. Let's see, small packaging. Last bit of packaging. So we're on to the last bit, I think. Unless I toss something out with the packaging. If I did, it's on the floor. I'll find it later. And again, a bit of Sega, bit of Nintendo in this lot. And first up comes Nintendo, and it is Donkey Konga. My sister actually has this game, so I've played it a fair bit, and we have the bongos and whatnot, but I figured I'd pick up a copy to have for myself. And other than the box, you know, because this spine is snapped a bit, but other than that, this insert and whatnot is fine. Manual and disc, great. This is a really good game if you get a chance to pick it up. Slightly cheap-esque Nintendo effort at a musical game, because once more everything's a cover, and have got a few Nintendo songs or public domain tracks. Not as bad as say Wii Music. The music quality is better, and they actually have some, pop songs or popular songs like featuring All Right, Don't Stop Me Now, which is a good track in this actually. I Want You Back, Tub Thumping, Back for Good, Cosmic Girl, The Locomotion, and All the Small Things. I think All the Small Things is like compulsory. You have to have that on a music game because it seems to be on like all of them. But yeah, if you get a chance, it's well worth trying because it's a bit different to the kind of Guitar Heroes and whatnot. Even the drums on say Rock Band have a totally different feel to this. So nearly there now. Back to the Sega, and it is some Saturn games. And first up is Sega Rally. Now, as I said, I don't have a Saturn, so I'm not really going to collect too much for the Saturn either. Disc and manual there. These boxes are, and this is a common thing with Saturn. They feel fragile. I don't know what Sega were thinking, because it's actually, there's plastic components that are held together by basically tin cardboard films. But apparently well, not apparently, Sega Rally is one of the classic Sega system. I've the PC version myself, and I really enjoyed it. As I said in my PlayStation 3 collection video, I found that the newer remake, well, that's not so much a remake, but new version on the PS3 was a bit disappointing. Didn't live up to the old one. And then finally, another kind of classic on the system, Virtua Fighter 2. And apparently this uses the Virtua stick. Everything was Virtua back then. This feels heavy, so I'm guessing it's complete as well. Oop, disc slipped out. That's interesting. All the fighters stanced at the top of the disc. What were Sega thinking with these boxes though? There's the manual. They're a bad design. And the funny thing is, they had spent 10 years perfecting, shall we say, I'm gonna lift these down, we're getting a little precarious. They spent 10 years perfecting the Mega Drive Master System boxes, and by the end of the Mega Drive lifespan they had basically a really good box. Everything about it was pretty much perfect. And it's like you started the whole process over again with the Saturn ones. But to be honest, the Mega CD boxes were better. So anyway, let me see, just try and get these all in shot. So there's some Commodore, Sega, GameCube stuff, and a nice bunch of PlayStation 1 to add to the collection as well. So that certainly bulks out some of the non-Master System side of things, because obviously my pickups tend to be very Master System heavy. Obviously, I think if you're watching this, chances are you've seen Stuart's videos and seen his channel before, and he's done. My package arrived a little, I think it was just before New Year, and he put up his kind of part of the trades as part of his trades and New Year's pickups video. He got a hell of a lot of Master System stuff. And that's actually what I meant about, I sent over a Brucey bonus in the box, and sure enough he picked up the Master System game since then. I was like, nah, difficult, but traded on, no worries. And I never even thought that I sent over a Gaelic Games game, which is, I believe it's exclusive to Ireland, certainly I would imagine it is. It's basically, it's an Irish sports title. But if you're going, if you're going for a PAL set, I suppose you gotta hunt them down. To be honest, I've never even played the games myself, even though they were massive over here. But I've always said that there's so much interest in the sport locally that it would probably be worthwhile to do such a game. But as it turns out, that's actually an adaptation of Aussie rules football, an Australian PAL game that was then altered and licensed out for Ireland, for the Irish market. So there you go. Even when we think we have like a sort of original contribution to make to the gaming industry, it's a lot less original than we thought. But anyway, I'll put a link in the description below, so go check out Stuart's channel. Great trade. As I said, it really bulks up the collection, and given that my coffee's nearly gone, I should probably end it now, because it must be a really long video. So thanks as always for watching, and I'll be back shortly. Bye for now.